Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back for episode 34 of the Unnamed Motorsport podcast. We've seen the F1 2021 season, of course. If you missed out last week where Jamie and I went through our Abu Dhabi Grand Prix review, controversial still, the tempers are still flaring, I still cry into a pillow every night. Jamie still is out there partying as you'd expect, or he was out there partying.
Well,
up until now, Jamie, it's all gone wrong, hasn't it?
Up until the day I finished university for the term and then got COVID, which was ideal.
Yeah, so Jamie is
inside for 10 days.
or hopefully going to be a COVID survivor. Of course, we'll see next week if
I
he's
almost
still
wasn't
here.
on Friday. It was peak times, but we're good.
Good.
A bit. I'll be sniffling a lot, but apart from that, we're all good.
I'll be honest, guys, as you might tell, I'm a bit further away from my mic this week. I'm a bit worried I might catch a computer virus off him, so fingers crossed. We'll still be safe. But yeah, before we get into it though, I think we all stand together in hoping Jamie makes a swift recovery from his diseases. But yeah, today we're here back for the important stuff. The most important thing to come out of F1 2021, of course. The FIA have done their prize gala, a champion has been crowned, but far more importantly for the driver and the teams, we're here for the first annual Unnamed Motorsport podcast end of season rewards. Yes, the one that all the drivers want to win.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen can keep his world championship as long as he...
Rather like the FIA gala, Lewis Hamilton isn't here.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton has not been able to attend this one. He might win some awards though, like the FIA prize gala. But we've come up with six categories. Six categories, was it, Jamie? I've already lost count. Was it 6 or was it 7?
But technically, one of them's got 3 subcategories.
Yes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we've come up with 6, I think, remember? No, it was it 5? Was it 6? We don't even know how many categories we've come up with.
Let's go through it and see what happens.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6, I think,
here
on mine.
1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5, but one of them's got three parts to it.
I've got 6, but one of them's got 3 parts to it. Did you do best race of the year at the end?
I didn't do overtake.
No, I didn't do overtake either.
Oh no.
Oh, we've already bottled it, lads. We've already bottled it. Right, well, Jamie, I'm going to give you time as the podcast goes on then to bring to the table your best race of the year. But yeah, we've got best race of the year, as you've probably already guessed, because this is already becoming a train wreck of an episode. We've got driver of the year. We've got race win of the year. Non-race win of the year. Best team play of the year, our best positive and negative of the year, and like we said, that's got 3 subcategories, so that is going to be best, biggest surprise, I should say. So we've got positive team, positive driver, negative driver, and then one-off race as well, which I guess you could kind of put under...
by a driver in one race.
Yeah, but like the biggest surprise result of the year, rather than obviously someone that consistently did well, who had like one shining example from the season. So I don't know about Jamie. I've sort of come up with like 3 or 4 examples for each one that obviously we're going to discuss here today. Obviously as well, we are definitely going to forget some ones. So please let us know down in the comments, obviously ones that we've completely forgotten about for this one. But Jamie, driver of the year then. Let's kick this off with the big one.
Unsurprisingly, my first choice of driver of the year is Max Verstappen. I don't know if anyone saw that coming, but yeah, I think to take the fight completely to Lewis Hamilton, obviously win the fight regardless how it ended. It was a deserved title, and yeah, I think it's hard to argue against the world champion when his car wasn't that dominant at all. It was maybe better for spells of the season, but overall they were fairly equal.
Yeah.
So yeah, Max Verstappen is my choice.
Fair enough. Have you got any sort of others you'd like to bring to the front as well?
I mentioned Carlos Sainz. I think we spoke about him a lot last week. He's done super well in that Ferrari this year. Obviously, new team.
Best of the rest.
Done really well. Yeah, finished 5th in the championship. Best of the rest, ahead of his teammate. 4 podiums to 1. Obviously, we love categorising drivers by how many podiums they get here.
Exactly. Exactly. Hulkenberg in the bin.
Yeah, that's not what we want. Yeah, I think he's done super well, and yeah, if Ferrari do have a title challenging car next year, it'd be very interesting to see if they want to play number 2, because I don't think he will. I don't think he deserves to. So.
I think a lot of people, I think there's been quite a big sort of build-up now, hasn't there, of there's a huge amount of hype around Ferrari anyway for next year.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people genuinely see Carlos Sainz as a big, big threat to Charles Leclerc, and maybe just sort of upsets that Ferrari sort of quite good team chemistry we saw throughout, especially the second half of the year, haven't we? For me, though, again, I don't really think you can vote against Max Verstappen as driver of the year, can you?
Not really.
With a couple of exceptions through over-aggression. Didn't really put a foot wrong by himself this year. You know, a couple of times wheel to wheel. But when you look at sort of like his individual performances, when other things haven't got in the way, other cars even, he's been pretty much unstoppable this year. When he's got a car underneath him as well, of course. Others that I'd like to bring to the front, Lando Norris. Again, just like Carlos Sainz has ran an incredible season. Dominated against Daniel Ricciardo.
Tailed off towards the end, unfortunately. For him,
yes, but came back in Abu Dhabi. Third place in qualifying was very good. Got a bit unlucky in the race in the same sort of way as Charles Leclerc did.
Well, didn't he?
What's that, sorry?
He got a slow puncture at the end.
Got a slow puncture, right at the end, which completely killed him. Obviously, like we've said many times, could have won Spa, albeit because of qualifying. Could have won Monza, had McLaren let him race Ricciardo, and should have won Russia as well, or could have won Russia, I think is fair to say.
People would have been hyping the championship so much then, because Lando won 3 in a row. That'd have been, or 3 out of 4, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah.
That'd have been crazy.
Yeah, McLaren could have really been picking up a lot of momentum in towards the end of the season there. Pierre Gasly, I think, is another one, obviously, who's just been super consistent all year. Obviously, there's been a couple of weird races, like Qatar is probably a good example, where AlphaTauri just had no pace for some reason, just completely took the strategy the wrong way.
Start at the front row, and it's really annoying.
Yes, but I think hasn't Gasly this year scored more points by himself than AlphaTauri have ever scored as a team before, which is insane, even when they were Toro Rosso?
Yeah, that's true. And he's obviously 21-1, his teammate.
Yes, did completely put away Yuki Tsunoda. Yeah, well, Tsunoda was just really good at Abu Dhabi.
Was very good in Abu Dhabi. Although Gasly still finished 1 place behind him. So.
Yes, last one as well, I think we've got to put in the conversation of right up there this year. I still want to say Lewis Hamilton. And a lot of it's for those
only
final
because
few races.
Are so high,
Yeah. I mean, if this...
there were many of a long period of the season he just wasn't performing to his level.
Yes,
I don't think.
And this is the thing, like, isn't it? If Bottas had done everything Hamilton had done in that car this year, we'd be going, like Bottas is driver of the year, wouldn't we? Or we'd be like, he brought the fight to Max. But where it's Lewis Hamilton, of course, where he's had so many great campaigns, it's pushed him in a very different way this year. Like I think we've said, he's probably ran his most Prost-like season we've ever seen. Rightfully deserved the championship as well at Abu Dhabi. But like we sort of agreed, they both had quite a few unlucky moments over the course of the year. So Abu Dhabi, Hamilton deserved to win it. But over the course of the year, you can really make a strong case for both of them. So I think it would be unfair to put Max in the conversation and, I think like we've agreed, win it without putting Hamilton there as well.
I just think I look at the midpoint, or like the middle 10 races from Monaco until Italy. Hamilton won 1 race.
Yes,
which is not very good for a space of 10 races to win one of them. And that one was because Verstappen blew up at Silverstone.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
But, he had a bit of a dip mid-season, didn't he? Like we tended to see sort of between like 2014 and 2018, really, didn't we?
Yeah.
See, 2019, 2020 were a little bit different just because Mercedes just had that extra bit.
Good.
But he always seems to have a little bit of a slump mid-season most years. And then obviously, 2015 he didn't. Obviously, he was just dominant all year. But... yeah, we sort of see like that little sort of Hamilton, he gets a bit focused on other things going on around.
Yeah.
And then, obviously comes back absolutely swinging towards the end of the year.
He was doing super well the last few races.
Yeah. And like we said, obviously, really he did do everything still to deserve to become world champion.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think, though, it's, safe to say, really, there's no one else you can put there. Driver of the year goes to Max Verstappen. Have we got any words from him to collect the award tonight?
No. He hasn't joined us.
No.
He's too busy singing Supermax in Abu Dhabi still.
Yes, I can't believe, I don't know if you've seen, that song's like #1 around the world still at the moment. It's insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
The new version's well better, if anyone's not heard it.
I wasn't such a fan, I'll be honest.
I loved it.
Maybe because there's still salt coursing around my veins.
Yeah.
But wasn't the biggest fan of that one. Right, on to category number 2 then, Jamie. Best race win of the year.
I'm going to lie, such a fanboy for this category.
Okay, bring it on. Let's have a look.
I thought you 3 options.
Okay.
One of which is the French Grand Prix. which was won by Max Verstappen.
Okay.
Because he had both Mercedes to fight.
Yep.
And overtook both of them on track with very equal cars that race. The next one I've got is the US Grand Prix, which was won by Max Verstappen.
That's a good one that I had forgot about, yeah.
Because obviously, I would argue that Mercedes was probably quicker on race pace there, and Max had massive pressure from Hamilton for the last 15 laps or so.
Yes, yeah.
And held him off and won the race. And then my final option is the Styrian Grand Prix, won by Max Verstappen. Because he absolutely obliterated everyone and won by 40 seconds. So...
Yep, can we just give some context there? Of course, Hamilton pit late
Hamilton
on.
Did pit late on.
So that gave
but he led
him...
every lap.
Yeah.
Was able to slow down at the end and wheel spin over the line.
Yes, yeah, which was very dangerous and should have been banned from the rest of the year. I did love people complaining about that. That was quite funny. So obviously to quickly talk about those then, I've got France on my shortlist as well, so I think that's certainly one for the running. USA, yeah, I completely agree. I think that one was one of the races where had Lewis won that, it would have completely changed the momentum later on in the year.
A killer blow, I found.
Especially if Max had made a mistake.
Yeah.
And then the third one, Styria. I think, don't get me wrong, dominant display by Max, but gotta remember, Red Bull had quite a big advantage car that weekend. They brought a load of upgrades. And it's quite a bogey track for Mercedes and Hamilton anyway.
Yeah.
Which, doesn't take away from how good Max was, but it certainly wasn't a mega drive either, particularly.
No, he didn't have to do anything outrageous. He just absolutely dominated.
Exactly. I've brought 4 to this one. Okay. So, obviously, like you said, Max at France, late race overtake on Lewis Hamilton. I also wanted to go Max at Imola. Not a fan of his turn 1 antics, but after then, very tricky conditions. We saw a lot of people make mistakes all day long. Max didn't really put a foot wrong, did he?
Well, he almost binned it in the restart, but apart from that,
no. No, apart from that one, yeah. Bottas at Turkey. I wanted to throw this one in there because...
I've got that one in later, interestingly.
Yes, yeah. Bottas at Turkey, I think, is quite a weird one because, of course, it was the only race he won all year... And he won it with ease over Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Now, Mercedes...
In conditions that last year he was horrendous in.
Exactly, yeah. We thought it was just going to be another absolutely fraudulent display by Bottas. But, yeah, dominated that one. Mercedes had a small car advantage that weekend. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
But you'd expect Max Verstappen still to be able to give him a run for his money. And Max just really had no answer that weekend.
No. Yeah, Bottas. I don't know. He just suddenly turned up. It was when he got sacked, basically, from Merck, wasn't it? That he just had a spell of, 4 races doing really well, and then they kept giving engine pens.
Yeah, you just kind of saw him, the pressure seemed to come off for Valtteri Bottas, and he seemed to just be comfortable in his ability again. But I think for me, and I know exactly what I'm going to say here, there can be no other race than Brazil. I'm sorry.
I just think the way that car was, no one else was ever going to win that race.
But Max Verstappen tried to make sure he didn't, and he couldn't make that work.
Incredible how fast the engine was that weekend.
But Hamilton, you could tell by the way Hamilton was driving, though, even from free practice. Yeah. Hamilton decided that weekend, it was one of those ones that we see a few times a year, where Hamilton goes, right, I'm winning this one, and no one else gets a look in.
It is also true that without a sprint race, he wouldn't have won that. And
wouldn't have won it, or it would have been a lot more difficult to win it?
I don't think he would have done. Starting 20th versus starting 10th, there's no way.
But remember how quickly he got to 10th though in the sprint? It was only really the cars he had to re-overtake that were the difficult ones. Obviously got a bit lucky. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say having the sprint qualifying made it any harder for him. But even then, 10th to 1st in a Grand Prix is really incredible anyway.
I can allow Hamilton to have that one.
Are we saying Hamilton Brazil is driver of the year? Yeah, I think
it's a very good drive.
And yeah, I think like we said, obviously, a lot of people as well sort of talk about that was really the turning point as well, because had Max been able to, run him off the road and Hamilton couldn't have done anything there, obviously Max would have then just Rosberged his way to the championship. So Hamilton knew that was a must-win situation as well, and of course kept him in the fight to the end of the year. So yeah, Hamilton then, drive of the year, at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Race win of the year at the Brazilian Grand Prix then. Let's go into, then, non-race win of the year. So this was for a driver that did really well,
Yeah.
but didn't take the dub.
I've got some options. I've got 4 options for this, actually.
Good. I've also got 4.
My first one is Leclerc at Silverstone.
Yes, I had forgot about that one. That's a very good shout.
Because he led, obviously, 50 laps out of 52 in a car that didn't really deserve to be in the lead.
No.
Probably 3rd fastest on the day, maybe 4th.
3rd fastest that weekend, definitely.
Probably 3rd, yeah. And then, really good pace. Obviously, as soon as we saw Hamilton get the penalty, everyone at the track was like, oh, Bottas is winning then, because he's right behind Leclerc, and the car's way quicker. And then Charles just brought out a gap, very nearly kept it to the end of the race. It would have been a very deserved win, actually.
Did also, can we add as well, had engine issues, which doesn't get talked about much, but could have made the difference there.
Yeah, because he's only 2 laps away anyway. So, yeah, Leclerc at Silverstone, very good performance. His only podium of the season. But
yes, yeah.
Very, very good performance for him to come second there. I've also got Bottas at Italy.
Yes, that's another good one I forgot about.
Because he obviously got Friday qualifying sprint king or whatever, speed king. Then won the sprint race, and then had engine pen, started last and came through to 3rd place.
Which again was the weekend he'd been confirmed he was leaving.
Yeah. He was how far off doing some research? He was 5 seconds off the win, starting 19th. So
and
despite
McLaren were rapid that weekend as well.
McLaren were very quick that weekend. So Bottas at Italy, good option, I think. I've also just gone for Max at Baku because he was obviously going to win that quite at an arm's length, and then Pirelli decided that he didn't deserve 4 tyres anymore. So that's an option. Max at Baku when he had the tyre blowout, not far from the end. And I've also gone for Lando Norris at the Austrian Grand Prix, where he came 3rd behind Verstappen and Bottas, but would have been 2nd if not for a very harsh 5-second penalty.
Yes.
And overtook Hamilton on track, was ahead of both Mercedes the whole first stint. So
weirdly enough then, Jamie, we've gone with 4 each, and none of them are the same.
Oh, that's not really get confusing, is it?
This is going to get very difficult very quickly. So, you've gone with Max at Baku, Lando at Austria, Charles at Silverstone, and
Bottas at Italy.
4 very, very good shouts. I have gone with, then, Fernando Alonso at Qatar. Very good weekend. Alpine was surprisingly strong as well, which sort of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they were.
Controlled the pace. Did pretty well, obviously, on dead tyres against Sergio Perez.
Yeah,
as
good
well.
Pace management. Yeah.
And it just kind of looked like it was one of those odd podiums where throughout pretty much all the race you knew it was going to happen. And I think, to be honest, that showed why it was such a good race by Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
And nice to see him back on the podium.
Pace from nowhere.
Similar sort of vibes then. Seb at Baku. Yes, I'm putting Seb as a positive in this. Who would have thought it? Got a bit lucky with the tyres, and obviously his teammate getting a puncture, so obviously got the call then. But, has to be said as well, did very, very good on his tyres early on in the race. And again, a bit like Alpine at Qatar. Aston Martin really just looked good that weekend, which was good to see.
Yeah, when they've been like 7th the rest of the season, pretty much, and then they just suddenly have a random good weekend at Baku,
Yes, yeah. My sort of side ones, though, land a bit like... This is sort of more like your vibes of Max at Baku as well. Lando at Russia.
Oh, that's a bit different. He messed up himself.
Messed up himself, but up to that point had done really, really well.
Yeah.
And looked in control of that Grand Prix. And then, last but not least, again a bit controversial, so I wanted to put it in the conversation, but I don't think it'll win it.
It's Hamilton at Abu Dhabi.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's George Russell at Spa, because that qualifying lap was insane.
That lap was incredible. Yeah. I wouldn't want to give it to the best non-win to someone who did 2 laps on the safety car.
Yeah. This is. I wanted to put it out there still. I didn't want to seem like it was forgotten about. But yeah, for me, to be honest, looking at all of those, I'm just trying to think. Obviously, back through yours, Baku again. I sort of struggled to give it to someone that didn't finish.
Yeah.
Again, which I understand why you've put him in there, but again, it's sort of the bit the same as George, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
You know, Max could have done something. Leclerc as well. He was kind of put in that position because Hamilton and Max came together.
Yeah, Bottas is an option.
Bottas, I think, to be honest, Bottas is the one screaming out to me so far. I think because that Monza one, if Hamilton had done that, like we just said, as race win of the year, yeah, exactly. I think I'm happy to put Bottas there if you are.
Yeah, go for it. We love Valtteri here. We
are all Valtteri stans. He's going to be our Alfa Romeo man of 2022. Yes, so there we go then.
Funny show.
Mercedes picking up more silverware then. Valtteri Bottas wins best non-race win of the year.
That sums up Bottas really, doesn't it?
Yep, the best at not winning.
Yeah.
Let's go then into the next one, which is best team play of the year.
I think we've probably got the same options here.
Probably.
I've come up with 2.
I've come up with 3.
Okay. So I think the one that I think will win is Alpine at Hungary.
Yep.
Because obviously Alonso basically gave Ocon the win by just holding off Hamilton for about 8 laps.
Yes.
Like, super good defending from Alonso, like, ridiculous. And yeah, I think without that, obviously, Hamilton would have rinsed past everyone else and won the race. So, basically protected Ocon from Hamilton. And my other one, Sergio Perez in Abu Dhabi for, absolutely training Hamilton through that last sector ridiculously well.
Yes, yeah.
So
yeah. Rather predictably, I've got those 2. I also just wanted to throw into the mix very different vibes to those 2. McLaren at Italy.
That's basically just team orders, though, wasn't it? We see that all the time.
Only won 2 of the year, though, for any team, which was big. And, of course, let's not forget, Lando Norris could have won that race, but didn't, and let Ricciardo have the glory.
Yeah, I think that's what's being part of a team, really, isn't it?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Out of the other 2, I would very much swing towards Alonso. As good as Perez's was, it wasn't great racing, particularly, was it? It was just, let's be fair, and don't get me wrong, he did the job perfectly. He was just being a dick.
It was okay in 2016, wasn't it?
It wasn't 5 seconds in a lap, though, was it?
That was so funny that it was genuinely 1 lap. You couldn't see Verstappen down the back straight. The next lap he's
right there, yeah. But I think Alonso's though was great racing, wasn't it? Even though obviously it would have been, for me anyway, nice to see Hamilton win that one, you cannot deny Alonso did everything within the rules as well, which is the big thing.
I saw there was a clip on Sky Sports. They do they do a challenge with the drivers where they say who's more likely out of you 2, that sort of thing. And they did it with the Alpine drivers, and the question was who drove better at Hungary?
And they both thought each other,
and they both thought each other, yeah.
I mean, they were always going to, weren't they?
Yeah.
Imagine Ocon goes in there, yep, I was the better man that day.
It was all me.
Alonso could have crashed on that one and I would have slapped everyone anyway. I mean, we say that, Seb might have been able to do something late on without any fuel in the car.
Yeah, it was under fuel, that's why it's so quick.
Exactly, that's why he was able to stick near Esteban Ocon of all people.
So yeah, Alpine trusting the plan and getting the trophy for best teamwork.
Yeah, L plan. And like we said, it was nice to see Alonso get rewarded for that in Qatar as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Come the end of the year. It would have
been such a shame if he hadn't got a podium.
Yes, yeah. So there we go then. Alonso, I think it's safe to say, picks up our best team play of the year, rather predictably.
Who sees that coming in 2007?
Exactly, yeah. At Hungary of all places. It was probably revenge for them, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
All those vibes come back then. So, let's get in. Do we want to do best race of the year, or do we want to go into our biggest surprises?
I think race first.
Race of the year. I've got 3 here.
I've put 2 down, but I didn't really think about it that long.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Minutes of the podcast.
What are your 2?
And I've sort of, this is just by pure memory of which races stick out to me as really exciting ones to watch live. So I've gone for Baku or Saudi Arabia, just because they were crazy.
Right, okay. We've gone with very different races here.
The range of emotions that I experienced through, especially Baku, this is great. Max is going to win at 1-2, easy. Then 5 laps to the end, he's out, and I'm like, this is depressing. and then Hamilton obviously messes up his braking into turn 1 and goes straight on. Like, and then Gasly gets a podium as well. Unbelievable. So yeah, I think the Baku race had such a roller coaster of emotions.
Yes,
sort of similar to Abu Dhabi, I guess, but that was more dead for like the most of the race.
Yeah,
or almost all the race really. And then Saudi Arabia was obviously just ridiculous and mental and very funny.
I think Saudi Arabia was just carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like watching a sprint race in real life from F1 2021.
To be honest, if we were doing a worst race of the year award, I'd probably be inclined to put Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia in there.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, even as a Hamilton fan, watching the end of Saudi Arabia, even I wasn't that happy with it. It was just a disaster. And then, of course, Abu Dhabi was...
Saudi Arabia.
What's that?
Everyone was fuming after Saudi, though.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. For me, though, I've put France...
Yeah.
Was a good, honest, clean battle, which, as we got towards the end of the year, would have been nice to see more often. Yeah. I think we would have appreciated that in Spain a bit more. But yeah, that one was really, really good. Obviously, proper battle. Both cars pretty even on race pace.
And all the 4 cars in the battle as well. Bottas and Perez were pretty relevant that race.
That was the other good thing for that one. Russia, I wanted to put in there.
Didn't watch that live, unfortunately.
No, that's fair enough. Was prime Hamilton absolutely nailing the strategy. Max did really well to go from the back. Yeah, but Hamilton said it as well.
I suppose, yeah.
Hamilton put trust in the team when Lando didn't. Obviously, you had the whole sort of Lando storyline alongside that. Obviously, everything falling apart for him at the end. Russia delivered a good race, which, again, a bit like France. It was nice to see it actually delivering a good race, which was important. And then, of course, I've got to come back to Brazil. Because even when you look past Hamilton, there was just a lot of good racing all up and down the field.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember anything other than Hamilton.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of focus on Hamilton, obviously closing up to Verstappen, wasn't there? But there was some good battles up and down the order.
I don't remember any of them. Sorry.
Did you watch the race live?
Yeah, I think I did.
Well, now I'm disappointed.
Wait, well, name me some, and I might remember them.
You had Ocon, and I want to say it was the Alpines and the AlphaTauris battling it out.
Oh yeah, Gasly came back through the Alpines, didn't he?
Yeah. Obviously, Lando's good recovery drive from the puncture.
I completely forgot you got a puncture.
Yeah. Yeah. Sainz and Leclerc.
I was probably too annoyed.
I think there was
I don't want to give it to Brazil.
You don't want to give it to Brazil. What were your two again then?
Baku and Saudi. I don't think we can give it Saudi.
Yeah. Do we... France is the ones... No, can we say France was race of the year?
France and Russia, race of the year, it just seems wrong.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go Baku. Neither of our drivers won. We're not biased.
Yeah, I suppose we'll go Baku, shall we?
Baku was fun.
It feels wrong doing that, though, as well, doesn't it, in many ways? Can we put Baku as race of the year?
Leclerc was pole. There was a good battle for the lead at the start.
Do we put Monza as race of the year?
Monza was good, actually.
Monza, are we going to say Monza breaks the shortlist?
Neither of us had it shortlisted. Monza was fun. Ricardo wins. There we go.
Monza, race of the year. After it didn't even make the shortlist. Yeah, no, I'm happy to put that down if you are.
Yeah.
There we go.
Good race. Lots of drama.
Monza, race of the year then. So, into our final 3 sort of subcategories within a category then. We are going to go with our biggest positive / negative / biggest sort of surprises of the year. This has been split into 3 categories like we mentioned. Best surprise team, worst surprise team, driver, and single race by a driver. So, Jamie, do you want to start with team?
Okay. I think it's probably quite predictable because the team performance is quite static throughout the whole year. So I've gone for the positive surprise comparing to 2020. I've got Red Bull / Ferrari, probably Red Bull just edging it because they were genuinely usually getting on for a second off the Mercedes most of last year. And yeah, came with the fastest car to many races this year. And
most races this year.
Very close, yeah. So I think Red Bull were, absolutely nailed it. Obviously the regs played into their hands quite a lot, or played against Mercedes more so, but they still nailed it and really ran a very good season.
Didn't win the Constructors' Championship, though.
Didn't win the Constructors. No. That was mainly down to Perez, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were basically just throwing Perez under the bus later on in the year, weren't they? You touched on my team there. I'm putting Ferrari as my biggest surprise of the year.
I almost went for them. They came back from 2020 very well.
Horrendous 2020. Built a really good car for 2021. Or not towards the start of the year, but brilliant teamwork. Consistent. 2 fantastically consistent drivers. And let's not try and take away from them either. McLaren should have probably been further ahead later on into the year. It should have been Ferrari either just edging them out in the final couple of races, but where Ferrari had been so consistent early on, actually ended up walking it after McLaren really dropped the ball in the last few races.
Yeah, McLaren should have absolutely smashed the first half of the season, really. They were 3rd fastest most races.
Yes, yeah. So, for me, Ferrari were the biggest, and as well, obviously going back to Ferrari seemed to have got rid of a lot of their issues with, strategies and things like that. There weren't many glaring mistakes this year. Good. Operational errors were very much reduced.
2 pole positions as well.
2 pole positions as well. Clearly have got some good pace. The rule changes didn't really sort of seem like they kind of screwed or massively played to Ferrari either. Yeah. Which I think proved they just put a lot of hard work in. They've been very, very clever with making sure all their tokens are used for next year as well. To try and build them back as a threatening team. So yeah, I'd like to go Ferrari, to be honest.
I think Ferrari as well.
Are we happy to go Ferrari as our best positive of the year?
Yeah.
There we go.
In 2020. So
sorted. Settled. Disappointing team of the year then. I think we're probably both going to go similar here.
I think I've just got Aston Martin.
Yeah, so have I.
They finished 3rd last... No, they should have finished 3rd last year.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously, everyone was like, they're literally going to win a title. They've got so much money now. Well, they weren't saying that, but they're saying 3rd or 4th at least. And yeah, they came 7th.
Yep.
And often that was a very deserved 7th. It wasn't like they underperformed. They just didn't have a very good car.
No.
So, or very good drivers. But yeah, not very good. Not very good for Aston Martin.
No, exactly. And this was the thing, wasn't it? Again, they kind of got screwed by the rule changes heading into the new year. Yeah. But
that's what happens when you copy Mercedes.
Exactly. You sort of see the same thing with Haas, don't you? Yeah, neither driver particularly, there didn't feel like there was a huge amount of really big positive races by each driver either. Baku was sort of the one highlight of the year. Hungary could have been, but wasn't.
If they had enough fuel,
Yeah, again, it's things like that. It's a bit like the opposite of Ferrari, isn't it? Quite a few operational errors, completely fell backwards from last year. Neither driver particularly delivered throughout a lot of the season. You can't help but feel, at the very least, they should have been a threat to Alpine and AlphaTauri, shouldn't they? They should have been with them, battling it out. But they just weren't, unfortunately. So yeah, I think we can safely say Aston Martin is our disappointment of the year in terms of a team. Driver then, Jamie. Biggest positive surprise?
I've gone for Lando Norris for this one. I just think that obviously he got outperformed by Sainz 2 years in a row.
Not really, particularly. Outscored. Sorry?
Yeah, Sainz had him in his pocket for both those years.
Qualifying, they were dead even.
Yeah, but you don't get any points for quality, do you?
Yeah, but that was based on pace, wasn't it? Although again, we argue that Sainz slapped Charles this year, so I'll let you have it.
So I think Norris, everyone, especially after Ricciardo came 5th in the championship for Renault in 2020, everyone sort of expected Ricciardo to go into that team and sort of pocket Norris. Yeah. Because everyone
prove why he's paid a lot of money.
Yeah. People thought Ricciardo was still top 5 on the grid. Those were the days. And yeah, I think Norris has really, really shown how good he is this year, because it's always hard to get a barometer on the midfield drivers effectively, but I think Norris, we can safely say, is absolutely could be a champion in the right machinery.
Yes, yeah.
And that's basically just been from this year, especially first half of the season.
And I think
very good performances as
well for Lando Norris, isn't it? It's been a very big year of growth for him as a driver. I think he's matured a lot as well. We've seen. I'd also like to throw into the mix Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
All aboard that Gasly hype train now. Mega in qualifying pretty much all season long. Like I already said, obviously outscored by himself more than AlphaTauri have ever done as a team before.
Yeah.
Helped by a pretty decent car, but again, I feel most weekends he overdrove it as well. Managed to put it into some races. He was normally battling towards Ferrari and McLaren, which I'm
massively pocketed his teammate.
Yeah. Tsunoda was obviously in the bin again. Rookie driver though, but I'm more than happy to put Lando Norris as our positive surprise of the year. I think
he deserves to win something after the season he's had.
Yes, yeah. So there we go. Lando Norris, our positive driver surprise of the year. Then negative driver surprise. Then Jamie.
I found it difficult to actually pick one for this because looking at the championship, I don't think there's been anyone that below where they should be or like that horrifically bad. I ended up going for Tsunoda, which just because of where Gasly has been all season and until the very last race, Tsunoda's just been nowhere near really. Like he did well in Bahrain, and then that was sort of it.
Yeah.
He did well in the Middle East, and that was all he did all year. There's 20 races between them.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel a bit unfair putting him in the negative surprise category for me. Remember, he was an F2 rookie last season.
Yeah, he's come up very quickly.
AlphaTauri kind of pushed him into that seat because they didn't want to put Albon there, because they didn't want to admit they were wrong, which was a bit difficult. So I think for me, and obviously the fact they've given him another season next year kind of, I think, means they were aware of they probably pushed him in a bit too soon. He could have really done with an extra year of Formula 2, and I think, he probably would have been second overall, I want to say, in F2 this year.
Second or first, yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have beat Piastri. Piastri's on another level.
Piastri was ridiculous this year, to be fair.
Yeah, so for me, for sort of that reason, I've gone with Danny Rick. Like we said, should have pocketed Lando. You say he sort of finished where you'd expect him to. Had we seen Danny Rick of old, he would have probably wrapped up best of the rest. Or at least been with them. The fact that it was Leclerc, Sainz and Lando battling and Ricciardo wasn't there was a bit disappointing. He was probably why McLaren didn't get P3 overall in the Constructors when they probably should have. Yeah.
Or he was the thing holding them back.
And again, obviously, Monaco for him. I run these streets.
Oh, that was so bad. Did you see the
F1 video? Yeah, I was going to mention that.
The predictions, that was so funny.
Saying Monaco was going to be his race of the year, and they're like, no, it was not.
Those streets.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
Not good.
Yeah, so I swing more towards Ricciardo because, again, I didn't really have many expectations, so Tsunoda wasn't a negative surprise.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you as well, quickly, talking about Tsunoda, how well do you reckon he would have done in that Haas?
I think you're so limited by the quality of the car that you can't do anything. I think he would have been on par with Schumacher.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw most of the season Schumacher had the edge on Mazepin, but doesn't really matter when the car is so horrendous.
No, exactly. But that's sort of what I wanted to compare him to.
Awful lot. I don't think the rookies... I think this crop of rookies in 2021 has been the worst for a while, to be honest.
They've been pretty lackluster, haven't they? I still have hope for Mick and Yuki.
Yeah.
I don't want to completely write them off yet.
But they haven't had a good...
No, and I think this was something very, very interesting I read a couple of days ago as well, obviously talking about Mick Schumacher at Haas. You kind of feel sorry for both him and Mazepin. The fact that neither of them had an experienced driver to learn from.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've had an awful car all year, and there's no one that can sort of give them feedback that's got a benchmark from elsewhere.
Or knows how to set up an F1 car.
Exactly. We kind of saw the car towards the end of the year. It wasn't actually that far off.
No.
But, yeah, just
it's like
very, very difficult.
When the 2019 rookies, Norris had Sainz?
Yep.
Yeah. Albon obviously had Kvyat.
And then Verstappen.
Yeah, and then Verstappen. And then Russell had Kubica, who, while was out of the sport for a while, was still experienced.
And he pocketed him.
Yeah, and he did really well. So, I don't know. It's always better, I think, for a rookie to have a driver to learn from, which is why Guanyu Zhou is going to trounce all of them next year.
Really, he's going to learn so much about him not to defend from Valtteri Bottas.
He's going to learn how to be the best non-race winning driver.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'd want to put Ricciardo in there out of anyone.
Yeah, I think Ricciardo is probably fair enough.
Yeah. In terms then of best one-off drive by someone, which again we sort of said could fit in elsewhere, I'd like to quickly give a shout out to Tsunoda at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, he did well. That was surprising as well, which I guess is the whole point.
Yes, yeah. And again, obviously, a bit like the best non-race win of the year. Yeah, that one kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Proper sent it on Bottas as well.
Yeah, it was the complete prime screw it, it's Bottas energy.
Yeah. Bottas tax in like encapsulated.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Any for you particularly? This one was kind of a bit of a...
I've gone for Bottas in Turkey because...
Yes,
literally after qualifying when... Did Hamilton have a grid penalty that race?
Yeah, but you already knew that going into the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, so when it was meant to be Bottas on pole with Verstappen in second, I was like, oh, that's easy Max win then in the wet.
Yes,
Bottas is horrendous. He's going to spin out 16 times again. But then Bottas surprised us all by not spinning. And winning a canter.
Yeah, it was a pretty dominant display, like we said earlier on. He kind of just won it. It was like, yeah, I'm off to Alpha.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I'm more than happy to give that to Bottas then. So Bottas has won best non-race win of the year and best surprise drive of the year then.
Yeah, we love Bottas here.
Worst
Never
surprise drive.
I've gone for one you've probably forgotten about. Because I've gone for Perez in Austria, where obviously he got unfortunately pushed into gravel by Norris at the start, but then from there on spent the whole race just killing everyone.
Yep.
Specifically Leclerc, where he just every time Leclerc
was after blood.
He just shoved him off. Yeah. So it wasn't great driving from Perez at all.
No.
And especially when his teammate dominated and he was busy fighting Ferraris for 6th.
Yes, yeah.
If Gasly does that, he gets executed.
Gets the boot.
So
yeah. I had, to be honest, forgot about that one. I've gone with 2 from the same Grand Prix. Hamilton at Monaco.
Yeah, that was true, actually.
And Ricciardo at Monaco.
Hamilton was terrible. Hamilton is such a fraud at Monaco, though. He absolutely loves bigging himself up because he's like Ayrton Senna reincarnated. And then every time he goes to Monaco...
But like we always say, he isn't Ayrton reincarnated. He's Alain Prost.
He's not. And it's hilarious because he thinks he's Senna.
I don't think he believes he is anymore.
No, he doesn't.
And I think in many ways, he's a lot better than Senna. He's a much more well-rounded driver.
Yeah, he's a much better rounded, which is why Prost is better than Senna as well, because he had much more smooth edges.
But then Senna beat Prost. As we kind of saw this year, to be honest. Many times. Yeah. By the end of this year, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Senna versus Prost.
Hamilton's never been that good at Monaco, I don't think.
No, it's not been his best track most years. Then again, generally... he hasn't had a car that's particularly suited to Monaco either. Because most of his cars are designed to win championships, not designed to have all the aero on them.
Yeah, I suppose.
But Bottas pocketed him in qualifying. He spent the entire race weekend battling Alpha Tauris and Seb. Or Gasly and Seb, really.
Very he was an absolute pleb in the interviews afterwards as well.
I don't remember that. To be fair, it was the one race I didn't watch this year in live.
He was all like... have you got a lot to learn from this race? And he was like, well, our team has. I did all I could.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is not the best attitude, I think, from a 7-time world champion.
And let's be fair. And if you want to be argued as the greatest qualifier of all time, you can't be half second off your teammate around the driver's track as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just...
behind Gasly.
Yeah.
What is that?
A very, very odd weekend from Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like there was something else going on there that we might hear about in like his autobiography or something like that.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that.
That is going to be such a read.
Why did they swap the engineers in 2016?
Yeah, that is going to be such a... There's so many... Like, Spygate... Obviously, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2012, 2011... Pretty much every year.
Every year.
There's massive talking points. Yeah. That is going to be such a
much.
read down the line. And then, of course, Ricciardo, again, like we mentioned, obviously running those streets.
Has it on his helmet as he gets lapped by Lando.
Lapped by his teammate, yeah. I think, for me, that was the glaringly bad race weekend of the year. So much hype as well going into it, obviously, with a Gulf McLaren as well. Ricciardo going, this is where I'm back. And it just fell apart for Ricciardo.
I'd rather give it to Hamilton, because we've already slandered Ricciardo in this video.
Oh, I don't know. Hamilton didn't get lapped by his teammate.
Bottas was going to finish second that race.
Yep.
And Hamilton would have been 8th then if Bottas finished. That's horrendous.
Oh, I'd happily give it to both of them, I think. I can't, in my right mind, yeah. I can't let Ricciardo off
like
forward watch for
4
that.
seconds off getting lapped. Wow. That's funny.
Yeah. I'm happy to give that to both of them, I feel.
Okay.
Is that fair? Are you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fraud in Monaco.
Yeah.
Frauds in Monaco.
Monaco frauds, yeah. The guys that get paid the big bucks. And Hamilton normally earns his big bucks. But yeah.
Not this year.
Frauds in Monaco. Exactly. But there we go then, Jamie. I think that's us done for the Driver of the Year awards here in F1 at 2021. Like we said, we've definitely missed out some glaringly obvious ones, so let us know down in the comments below. But yeah, anything else you'd like to add?
Not really, I don't think.
No.
Just that Hamilton definitely isn't retiring, the one bit of news this week.
Yes, yeah, that was... Yeah, Hamilton's not going to retire, let's be fair. I cannot wait for that to bite us back.
Rosberg beat him again in Extreme E. 2 out of 2. Yeah,
I saw that. Well, not really 2 out of 2. It's 2v2 so far, isn't it, really?
You're only as good as your last 2 championships.
I'll behave. Behave, yeah. Again, I'd just like to obviously mention quickly, the podcasts aren't going away anytime now, of course. I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas. Obviously, we'll hopefully be back next Tuesday, even. Obviously before New Year as well, so we'll sort of talk more then. We've got like a few different ideas for things we want to do, obviously between now and next season. So yeah, there's certainly going to be a lot of like pre-season hype and things like that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to add apart from hopefully Jamie, you feel better soon as well. By next podcast, you should be coming out of isolation, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I'll be at home. But I won't be at home on Christmas Day, unfortunately.
No, that's right in the fields, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching, though. I want to personally say a massive thank you as well for 29,000 subscribers. We've almost hit 30k. You guys are insane. I think we were like on 26k last week. You guys are smashing out the park. Yeah, it's mad at the moment.
It's all me carrying the channel. That's the thing.
Exactly. This podcast is clapping it for us. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, nonetheless. And yeah, we'll be back next week out. Not quite decided what we're going to do yet. But yeah, we'll see you guys very, very soon.